In our today's presentation, we will be making a short discussion on the four theories about the existence of a state in pre-colonial Africa. Generally, regarding state formation in pre-colonial Africa, we have at least four theoretical framework. That means the state formation in pre-colonial Africa is the most debatable among the scholars of political science. The scholars who studied African politics do not agree uh, on state formation in pre-colonial Africa. So we have different theories which come up with different kinds of explanation regarding the absence and the presence of statehood in pre-colonial Africa. So the four major theoretical framework are Rush's methodology of the colonial period, the Functionalist Theory, the Africanist framework, and the last one is the Neomarxism framework. Now let us see them one by one. The Rush's methodology of the colonial period argued that state formation as a process is foreign to Africa. That means the Africans had no indigenous state formation system, and state formation as a process is something imported from outside, and it is something foreign to Africa. The Rush's methodology almost agree with the idea of the colonial anthropology, which says Africans never created decentralized states. The colonial anthropology almost argues that Africans never ever created decentralized states, and so the civilizations that we have in Africa during pre-colonial Africa is dominantly spread by the white migratory tribes called the Hamites. So the Hamites were responsible for spreading different civilization in Africa. And the Rushist methodology almost subscribe to the idea that Africans were backward and they had no indigenous civilization, and every civilization is just imported from the outside, and the Hamites were responsible for spreading civilization in Africa. The second theory about state formation in pre-colonial Africa is the functionalist theory, and this theory almost say that only area with high population density pass the process of state formation. That means the area that experienced state formation system in Africa is almost limited to the area with high population density. And pre-colonial Africa is the least densely populated continent in the world, and hence the societies easily avoided centralization tendencies. The functionalist theory generally says since pre-colonial Africa is the least densely populated in the world, there is ample or there is abundant arable land, and the peoples were sparsely distributed in the continent. And as a result, the societies or the people who are living on the continent avoided the political centralization tendencies. And the functionalist theory almost limits uh, state formation only to the area with high population density. The third theoretical framework that we have regarding state formation in pre-colonial Africa is the Africanist framework. And this theoretical framework is developed as a reaction to colonial anthropology that argues Africans are primitive and backward. So the Africanist framework argues that state formation is indigenous to Africa and that it was not imported from somewhere else, as the colonialists believe. That means the proponent of this theory um, strongly argued that the Africans had their own indigenous system of state formation, and state formation and the civilization is not something imported from outside, but the Africans had their own state formation and other civilizations. And we have a great name here, Sheikh Anta Diop, and he argued that the Africans had their own civilization, and their civilization is called the Black civilization. And his writings almost focus on five examples of state formation in pre colonial Africa. These are Ghana, Mali, Songhai, Mosi, and Sayur. So, in many ways, these states are equal to Western European feudalism. That means the writer almost compare these black African states with Western European states. And according to this writer, in terms of social structure, they are slave owning society. So the black African states were exercising this slavery system, and slave owning society was a feature of its social structure. And we have also social division within these black African states. So we have free men, and we have also slave. Slave actually is divided by this writer as slave of the king, slave of the father, and the slave of the mother. The last theoretical framework regarding state formation in pre-colonial Africa is the Neomarxism framework. And this theoretical framework is established as a critic and a reaction against both to the colonial anthropology, which denied Africa's achievement, and the Africanist framework, which idealized pre colonial Africa. And um, here we have names Archie Mafege's book entitled Theory and Ethnography of Africa. And in this book, it is mentioned that tribe and statehood were not